What's up, y'all? Shoebooty Sports coming at you Thursday night. Getting our nights mixed up. Yeah, coming at you Thursday, but probably a good night to do so. Hogs just finished their first game of the SEC tournament, 76-73 win over Auburn. Heck of a game, very Arkansas Razorback game. That's really kind of the game I expected out of these two to an extent. Uh, yeah, Hogs pull out a close one. This has become a pretty interesting rivalry between these two. Quick, we'll get to that in a bit. First, let's introduce ourselves for those of you who haven't listened to us before. I'm your host, Graham Powell. This is co-host Bradley Brown. Say hello. Say hello, Bradley.
Hello.
Or whatever I said the first time. I don't know what came out. It's supposed to be hello. I don't want to say there was an A and an I thrown in there, but it's all good. Quick shout out to our sponsor, y'all. Shoebooty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. How it works is you can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app. Once you're finished with your race, screenshot your results from that fitness app. Submit your results at rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Medals, buckles, all kinds of good stuff at rhinoraces.com. Also check out their gear section for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. Again, rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. Okay, so how about that game? It was a very Arkansas game. I missed the early part of it. I had to
Hey, me
work
too.
late. Yeah, had to work late. Had to make a run at the grocery store after. By the time I got home, traffic's of course going slow because it's pouring down here. I don't know what it's like up there, but it was pouring here. And by the time I get home and inside, it's like a 6 point game. But as I'm kind of putting everything away, uh, it was right before the half. Auburn closed it to about 6 or so. And second half, Hogs go up by 15 at one point. Looks like they're very much in control, and then Auburn steadily climbs their way back into the game. The Kamani Johnson Tech and is it KD Johnson for Auburn? I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of he's the one that kind of got him back into it, and yeah, ended up being a very close game. At the very end, I was thinking if Auburn would have pulled it out, I was thinking this would be a perfect, like, I guess, summary of how the season has gone for Arkansas. Looks really good early, and then disappointment at the end.
Yeah.
But they pulled it out, and Nick Smith hitting the corner shot, the corner mid range shot, to give Arkansas the lead for good. I mean, that's what you were missing the first time these two teams played, and for a large chunk of the season, you're missing that guy that can make that kind of shot, especially at the end of the game. And he's back, as must shouted after the game as he's doing the interview. Nick Smith, yeah, that was great, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what the
Good.
Hogs have been missing all year, but they got him back, and on to Texas A&M tomorrow night.
Yeah, it should be a fun game. What do we do? We beat them one out of two times. Did we win at our place or their place? It was at their place, right?
I believe it was their place that Arkansas won it, and I think
It'll be
that
interesting.
was, and you didn't have Nick Smith in that one, I believe.
Nope.
So I mean, they've shown that they can do it. This is the least, like, to me. I mean, Texas A&M is really good. Don't get it twisted, but this is like the least fearful number 2 seed, I think. Like, I would rather play A&M than Tennessee
Yeah. Agree
if
with
if
that.
if I'm Arkansas, which is kind of weird because there was a stretch where Tennessee lost, like, what, 4 straight or 4 or 5, 3 straight and 4 or 5 or something like that in the league. But it's a bad. Arkansas looked awful against them. Really, the last 2 years they played. Tennessee's It's just a bad matchup for Arkansas. If I'm them, I'd rather play A&M. Let's go ahead and get this one over with and go from there.
Yeah. Have you watched any of the other SEC tournament games?
All right, so last night, or was it? Was it last? Yeah, it was last night. Was the opening night, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I went to Lone Oak, right? I had to go by my vet to get some more ear medication for my dog because wet season is upon us.
Yep.
So trying to stay on top of that. And so I go say hi to grandma after, and it's kind of right in time for the game. Turn the game on. I'm about to like go to sleep, like during the game. Like it was just, I was like, yeah, I can tell these are the two worst teams in the league playing right now. It was
Yep.
Ole Miss and South Carolina. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a crap show to say the least, man. I had a hard time staying awake for that one. That was rough. But you can see why those teams. I mean, are both of them out at this point? Yeah, I want to say Ole Miss
Yeah, I
won
think they
that
got beat
one,
today. Yeah.
and then they got beat today. Yeah, that that was an awful basketball game. Just a little bit I saw. Close game, but terrible game.
Yep.
But that is all I've seen. That's all I've seen. I haven't been home for very long. I got home, like I said, turned on the Arkansas game, and even then I was kind of just doing stuff back and forth. Did a little cooking, just putting stuff away. But the second half, I definitely was pretty glued to the TV. But Nick Smith and Anthony Black, I mean, if those two get going, Arkansas is going to and the Mitchell guys, the Mitchell twins, they just kind of trade off on whoever has like a great game. Um, great for like what they do. Let me not just throw the word great around. I mean, they've really come on, both of them. The rebounding total kind of tripped me out tonight. Like, I would not think that our guys would have rebounded them like that. Then again, Auburn doesn't have the size that they did a year ago. You know, they're not a very big team either. But it's kind of weird. It's another thing I think that's added to this, you know, what's now a rivalry, I guess, is Auburn has two Arkansas guys, Arkansas natives on their team. One of which, of course, Flanagan, the from Little Rock, and the other guy Moore. I didn't realize he was from West Memphis. So, did you see the dive he took on the floor that resulted in that massive cut on it under his chin?
I did not. No, I missed that one.
Yeah, I heard that in the car. Sounded pretty bad for on the radio. Like, yeah, oh, it's a lot of there's a lot of blood out there.
You say he had to change jerseys, so yeah, there's quite a bit of blood.
Yeah, I guess I again didn't see it. I guess he caught him in a interesting spot on under the chin. I don't know, but it didn't sound like it was a dirty play or anything. And it was Jalen Graham that did it. So if anything, I was glad that it was Jalen Graham because he's kind of been a little bit of a liability on defense at times this year. So I was like, okay, well, if he's gonna give something up, at least give a hard foul. Just like don't give it to him. Like it wasn't like a dirty play, from my understanding. It was just a good hard foul, which you know it's fine in basketball, especially postseason basketball, which is where we're at now. I
Yep.
love the SEC tournament, man. You never know what you're gonna get out of it. Arkansas has only won the thing one time in 2000 when I was pretty disinterested in basketball. Like I didn't watch any really that season. Um, and that's the one time Arkansas has won it. I want to say Joe Johnson was on that squad. They've gotten close a couple of times. Like what was the year that we came back from Tunica? It was like 2008 or something, right? We had like a remember Stephen Hill, was that the guy's name?
Yeah.
And a couple other guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen Hill was
Those are,
not the star by any means, but
yeah.
yeah, the Arkansas had a big win like the night before, played their way into the championship game, and then got beat by Georgia, who was one of the worst teams in the conference, and then just had this crazy hot streak in that tournament that year, and ended up winning the thing. Because that was the one game I was like, oh, Arkansas is going to win the SEC tournament, and then no, Georgia beat them in the final. But the tournament's funny like that. Like wasn't it A&M last year? I think that was the team that got real hot. Yeah, because they made Arkansas look bad. when they played them last year. And then, of course, Arkansas goes on to the Elite Eight, so they recovered okay. Tennessee, but see, Tennessee won it last year and then get ousted in like the second round or something by Michigan, because I had Tennessee going pretty far. The SEC tournament's fun. I mean, it's all fun, man. It's all good stuff.
Agreed. See, any of the coaches, college coaches that got ousted today? I guess Patrick Ewing, he's gone.
Did see that. No surprise there, based on how they've performed. Jim Boeheim is officially done. He had a very weird way of saying it in his press conference. I don't know if you caught any of that. I'm guessing you did. That was a very strange way to say it. He really didn't even say he was retired. I don't think, but apparently that's what Syracuse has put out there, that he's retiring after 47 seasons. Of course, I mean,
out of basketball.
Yeah, puts Syracuse on the map, gets them a natty in 03 with Carmelo. Pretty good run, I would say. He did have that little hiccup, right? In the, I guess, late 2000s, maybe early 2010 teens ish. I don't remember when it was, but they had all those wins vacated, right? And I think he said shortly after that he was going to retire, and then he just like didn't retire. I remember like a couple seasons later, like seeing Boeheim out there. I'm like, I thought he was like retiring. What happened there? But pretty amazing. 47 years. Wow, it's a pretty amazing run. But I'm sure the transfer port, of course, 47 seasons is a long time anyway, but I'm sure he's pretty sick of I'm guessing he's sick of the transfer portal and probably the NIL and all the reasons that he himself has said that like Jay Wright got out for, Coach K got out for, or because of. So I'm sure that's part of the reason he's calling it quits too. In addition to 47 years doing something is a long time.
Yeah.
All right, so Ole Miss, sounds like Chris Beard is going to be the person they're targeting. That would be quite the get, and very Ole Miss.
Yep, very Ole Miss.
Like, let's go get Hugh Freeze, who was fired for controversial reasons, and let's go hire Chris Beard potentially for being fired for controversial reasons. To be fair, the charges were dropped, but you hear about everything that happened. It's not the most appealing thing. You don't exactly want your coach to be known for something like that. Well, like choking and biting, hitting and biting his wife, right? The biting part is what got me a little bit. I was like, okay. So he was very wild that night, and I know he's kind of he's a pretty confrontational guy. Like just based on what I've seen, of course, there's a fan like heckling him, and I actually I liked this though, that Chris Beard's walking by the fan, heckles him, and Chris Beard just turns around, walks over, and confronts the guy about it. Like wasn't out of line or anything. Just basically calling the guy out for calling him out. I thought that was pretty cool actually. But heck of a coach if Ole Miss gets him. I mean, the program's only. It's not like they can really get any worse. I mean, man, that basketball program was terrible this year at least. But yeah, talk about falling on hard times. Whatever happened? I was thinking this. Whatever happened to Frank Martin at South Carolina? Like in 2014 or 15, whenever it was that he led South Carolina to the Final Four, and then all of a sudden, over the next year or two, people are constantly posting Frank Martin quotes. For like Frank Martin basically has like a small book on quotes that he's had that have been reposted during that like run and shortly thereafter. But Did he get fired? I can't remember what happened there.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But it was talk about, I mean, the high of high. I mean, for South Carolina, getting to the Final Four is pretty close. Is about like winning the national championship in men's basketball. Let me specify men's basketball. Women's, they're the new Yukon, which is it's kind of cool because it's like I thought Yukon would be the team to beat forever, as long as Gino was there. But South Carolina has become that team now, which is an interesting turnaround. South Carolina of all places. But I'd wondered that, like, what happened to Frank Martin? How did that? Google that for me, real quick, while you're staring at a screen there.
Well, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and it just says that he left, and let's see, he got dismissed last year, March 14th, 2022.
Well, the program was irrelevant by then, so I guess he had gotten all he was going to be able to get out of that run.
He failed to reach the postseason for the remainder of his career after that Final Four run.
Yeah, and it was more than several years ago at this point, so I guess I can understand that wanting to move on at this point, but I couldn't even tell you who they have in this place. They looked really bad last night when the little bit I saw them against Ole Miss. So yeah, but going back to Arkansas, good to see them get a win. Got to 20 wins. Got to 20 wins. If they lost tonight, would there have been? How worried would you have been about them getting into the postseason? And by postseason, I mean the big dance.
I wouldn't have been worried.
Everybody has them as like a 9 seed, like the net 18 or
It's
whatever.
the net ranking,
Which I know that their schedule was pretty tough. But and the SEC is, I mean, it's a tough league in basketball now. I mean, there aren't many gimmies. There aren't many gimmies out there anymore in league play. But what would have been a 19-13 team and 8-10 in the league, 8-11 if you're counting the tournament. That doesn't sound like a tournament team.
It wouldn't have been a good looking resume, but we still would have got in.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know, man. I could see Arkansas being one of those teams to be snubbed, if that were the case.
Yeah, if they were on the bubble, yeah, no doubt.
But I think this one got them in. I thought they had a good shot at beating Auburn. If you ask, I thought Auburn would. If I had to pick, if I had to bet money on it, I would have picked Auburn. I would have picked Auburn to win it just because this team has disappointed me too many times. But it was really probably, if I'm looking at it objectively, a pick 'em game, which that's essentially what it kind of looked like, or what it did look like tonight. Because when Auburn beat them the first time around, Arkansas wasn't at full strength. So you knew kind of coming in, like, yeah, these guys got a shot. They got a shot to beat them. All right, let's pick tomorrow. Let's pick tomorrow night. I'm gonna hustle to the gym after work tomorrow, get a run in, and I'm gonna come straight home and turn on the game. That's my plan. Who you going?
Tomorrow?
What
time is that game tomorrow?
6:00, same time as tonight. I made sure to pay attention to that because I really want to get a run in tomorrow. Lifted weights for the first time in forever, by the way, on a Tuesday. I think I told you about that. That was yeah, I don't feel terrible or anything, but I'm definitely feeling the soreness today.
Yeah.
Today even. But all right, who we got tomorrow? Arkansas or A&M, and then let's pick who's going to win the tournament, because the tournament's going to be well over with, by the time we get back to y'all Tuesday. Of course, it's kind of we don't have to wait a whole week at least to podcast again next week. So we got that going for us. All right. You go first.
I'll be
I'm still undecided.
I'll be optimistic. I'll go ahead and take the Hogs. We broke the losing streak. Might as well. If we
Well,
lose, we'll probably get up by double digits and let them come back. Because that's what they do.
That is what they do. Okay.
And pick to win it all. I mean, duh, Alabama. But
you never know in the SEC tournament, though, man.
you never do. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Tennessee or somebody. But
Well, that'd be Tennessee winning it 2 years in a row. It could be. All right, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Arkansas also tomorrow night. And I say that because A&M's, had a night off. I think getting a game in and a battle testing kind of game in is only going to be good for Arkansas. I think that'll play in their favor a little bit. You see, like that year I talked about Georgia, winning it all. They were one of the early games, early round games, and that just kind of snowballed. That snowballed that momentum all the way to a championship. Not saying Arkansas is going to do that. Are they capable of winning the SEC championship? I think so.
yeah,
Would I be surprised if they do it? Absolutely.
shocked. Yeah,
I would be, and I don't throw the word shocked around lightly. Nothing really shocks me anymore, but that would shock me.
yeah.
But I will say Arkansas. I will pick Arkansas tomorrow night. I'm gonna say I won't give a score, but I'll say it'll probably be a 3-point game again. Probably be another tight game. Really, one way or the other. I mean, it could be a tight game. No matter who comes out on top, it'll either be that or A&M will blow them out. One of those two or three, I guess.
So who's Kentucky play tomorrow?
I think they play the winner of who's playing right now, which is
LSU and
LSU and Vandy. Is that it?
Vandy.
Yeah, Vanderbilt is a 6 seed. Man, Missouri the 4 seed. Now Missouri, I mean, they've had some big wins this year. They have had some big wins this year, but like Arkansas has, except for Alabama, it seems like they've split with everybody in the league. It almost feels that way anyway. And even the Alabama game, they played them tight the second time around. And it was in Tuscaloosa, correct?
Yeah,
the last one.
That was at that was at Tuscaloosa.
So I mean, if they can stay healthy, it's gonna take, if Arkansas is gonna win it, it's gonna take what we saw tonight, Nick Smith and Anthony Black like contributing huge. Like Anthony Black, 19 points, 6 and 6, 6 boards, 6 assists. Yeah, that's a tough guy to guard. I mean, you could tell that was a mismatch for Wendell Green and whoever else they put on him the entire game. Which, by the way, yeah, Wendell Green, he just always finds a way on an Arkansas poster.
He ran his mouth this week.
He ran his mouth. So, yeah, he's gonna have to eat a little bit of crow there. But he backed up his words early from the sound of it. I mean, he was the only one scoring for him early on.
Yeah,
but what I'm talking about is the SEC Network, I think, posted on Facebook the photo of Ricky Council doing the dunk, and of course Wendell Green's in the background. I'm like this dude always ends up on an Arkansas poster. I love it. It's very great for us as Hog fans. But all right, I didn't pick who was going to win the tournament. I'll say Alabama. Alabama, I think, is the I've already said this. They're the best team in the country to me, the deepest team, most talented team. Brandon Miller, absolute game changer. I don't know if there's a better player in college basketball. If so, I haven't seen them.
Say not right now, there ain't.
Yeah, so they could very well end up being the 1 seed. Although it was a weird weekend, right? Well, Alabama lost. Who did they lost to A&M since we played them. Uh, but a lot of teams that were projected to be like number 1 seeds ended up losing. So who knows how that's going to shake out. I think if Alabama like gets to the semis, if they at least get to the semis, they'll be a 1 seed no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just about the overall one at this point that they're playing for. Okay, so okay, jumping we'll stick with basketball for a second. I wanted to touch up on this a little bit. Did you see that I don't watch ESPN ever anymore? One, don't have time. Two, just don't really like the shows anymore.
Yep.
Um,
PTI is still good.
yeah, but even then, I don't watch it just because
Yeah.
I'm never home around that
I'm
time.
never home at that time. Yeah.
But I have seen the clip of JJ Redick uh, tearing
Yep.
into Kendrick Perkins, and rightfully so. It was the most watchable thing I've seen on First Take in years. But yeah, JJ Redick essentially just calling out Perk for his constant woke type of argument of just bringing in what is it JJ Redick said? I mean, he described it perfectly. Creating narratives that aren't there.
Yeah. That aren't real. Yeah.
Yeah, that aren't real. And he gives this like very like you could tell he did his homework on in this argument. And just what tripped me out is like Perkins like response to it was they do or something like arguing. Like that tripped me out a little bit, but
It was like an
uh
8-year-old comeback.
exactly. I was like here's this really just well said and well researched argument from JJ Redick, and then uh yeah, an 8-year-old comeback. It was
He might as well have just said, uh-uh.
yeah. And he did the thing of, well, I'm just if I'm maybe the loudest guy in the room, maybe people will think I'm right.
Yep.
That's when you know you're getting your ass kicked in an argument. But yeah, it was a pretty I'm with Charles Barkley on it. It was a pretty one of the dumbest takes I've ever heard on
That show had to issue an apology the following day.
because he was completely wrong and he was
Yeah.
saying those are the facts.
Yeah, that was hilarious, man.
Yeah, for those that don't know what we're talking about, Kendrick Perkins essentially said that insinuated or implied that Nikola Jokic, the Joker, is only the favorite to win the MVP for a third straight season because most of the voters are white and play favor to the white players. Which one, that's not even true. Turns out it's not even true
Yep.
that most of the voters are white, and his he picked, of course, he started from like 1990, right, to make his argument about the top 10 players. Like nobody has won it that wasn't in the top 10, but only like a handful of times. And it was like Steve Nash and, you know, white players, but he purposely left that out. Um, well, he left out the fact that, oh, Magic Johnson didn't lead the league and he wasn't in the top 10 in scoring and he won it, you know, in the years prior to 1990, among other arguments that JJ Redick very well went into. Check
Yep.
out the clip. It's all over YouTube if you want to look at that further. But anyway, that was one of the most watchable things I've seen on ESPN in years. So kind of glad it happened. Kind of glad I got to see it. Something else I saw today. Did you see anything about the like Jake Paul being confronted by like the Mayweather camp?
Yeah, like the whole camp. Like 30
Yeah,
something.
like an army of Mayweather whatever they are, the money team,
Yeah.
whatever we're calling these guys. But yeah, they just approached Jake Paul, and Jake Paul just he saw where the situation was going, and he just took off running. I saw like I was reading a little bit of his response. Like there's a story about it on ESPN right now, and he apparently got on Instagram was like, I mean, I'm not stupid,
Yeah. He made a
which kind of
smart decision.
yeah, because that's a I mean, Jake Paul's a tough guy, but well, one, he couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match for one.
No,
But
you got to hit him to beat him.
yeah, but two, you gotta. I mean, there's 50 of them coming at you. Probably a good idea to just hightail it out of there.
No.
Anyway, I got a little bit of a kick out of that. I
Yes.
did like I did like
Granted,
Jake Paul's
man.
like I did like Jake Paul's like response though. He said something along the lines of like I didn't say anything. All I did was take your hat. You still mad, bro? And that was one of the funniest things to me. Like in what he like confronting him and then like taking his hat. And what tickled me about it though was as he's like in a scrum, like with all these people, he's just you just hear him like eke out a couple of more times, like "Got your hat, got your hat," as there's 20 people on top of and around him. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but not much. So basically, in other words, there's not a whole lot going on outside of the SEC tournament. I'm glad we decided to do this show tonight. We wouldn't have had a whole lot to talk about on Tuesday. Of course, we can talk about like Aaron Rodgers and potentially going to the Jets. He's pretty open to that, apparently.
Yeah.
That'd be a good fit. I mean, if they can make that happen.
Have you heard the rumor about the Titans shopping around Henry?
Yes. That's another move I think to make sure they have cap space. And plus, if you're gonna shop him, if you are gonna shop him, really now's the time to do it, right?
Yeah. You know who's going to want to get him? Oh, JJ. Jared Jones. Gonna come
Okay, I was
after
like, who's JJ? I was like, JJ Redick. He's not in the NFL.
I don't know. I don't know why I could just see the Cowboys coming after him. So
Well, I know why you could because that's a very Jerry Jones move,
yep.
even though that's not what they need. Now not. I say that. I mean, that is because the Cowboys are close, right? They're close, and if you can get out of the Zeke deal, then you can essentially pick that one up and not skip a beat. I don't know what Derrick Henry's making, but it's probably not even what Zeke's making.
I don't think so.
Which everybody but Jerry thought that was a bad idea.
Which speaking of making money, how about Danny Dimes about his new contract?
Yeah, it's insane. I would.
Dude. I don't know who their agents are, man, but they're pretty dang good.
Yes, like I mean, shout out to him. I mean, go get your money if you can get it, man. But
Yeah, Mahomes, $500 million contract is looking like the deal of the century right now.
yes,
I mean, dang.
well, the best player in the league for one, and will be for the next 8 to 10 years probably.
Probably.
Yeah, and the salary cap's only going to go up, so the deals are going to keep getting big. But I mean, we say that every year, right? Whoever has the next contract coming up becomes the highest paid player. That's just the way it is.
Nah. What's your BS meter on the Tom Brady maybe coming to the Dolphins?
I don't see it happening. I like this tweet talking about, well, if those that are saying that have obviously never adopted a kitten for their daughter, something along the lines of that.
I didn't see that one. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it was pretty. He said it better than I did just now. That was a very. I said it like I got finished playing a game of telephone, and then just heard whatever the 10th person told me. That's how that's what came
Kids
out.
still play that game?
Probably no.
They probably just text in a circle now, right?
Yeah, they just they text one person something. Yeah, that essentially, pretty much. Okay, but going back to the Derrick Henry thing, I want to touch up on these two before we get out of here. Like all right, where do I want Derrick Henry to go? Buffalo. That's where I'd love to see him go.
That'd be
That's the
sweet. Yeah.
one thing they're missing is a running game. And what way to shore that up than go get Derrick freaking Henry, the best at it in the game right now.
Aren't they getting rid of their two best DBs though?
I don't know. I mean, you don't want to do that, but
No.
I mean, shoot, if you could keep that team intact and just go get Derrick Henry, I know, perfect world, but that's the one thing they're missing. That's the one thing they're missing is a run game, and you go do that, and that's gonna solve a lot of problems. Buffalo would be really dangerous looking next year if they could do that. But that's like my personal just dream wish scenario type of thing. Cough button. All right, but the other thing, if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, what are the chances what chances would you give them of just getting to the Super Bowl, not necessarily winning it, but getting there?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. Their defense is stacked. They've got most of the key position players there. Man, like, I don't know, slightly above, I don't know, I'd say like 25%, which I think is pretty damn good to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it was probably a poorly worded question. It's basically just my way of saying, are these guys contenders
If they have
with
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers,
Yeah, like legitimate contenders.
yes, as long as he gets there and plenty of time to build that relationship with the receivers and everybody.
Yeah, but we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he steps in, to the Jets front office, 3 weeks before preseason, no.
Yeah, if I'm the Jets organization, I'm like for an office, I'm having that conversation. That's what we're talking about right now.
You need to get him there, in May.
Yeah. Yeah, like how I need to know like how committed are you to this? I mean,
he needs to have at least 3 summer vacations with these new teammates and a couple of after hours practices with these receivers. So
yeah, or just show up to OTAs, show up to off season.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah, that too. All right. Anything we miss?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of things we missed.
Okay, Kevin Durant, likely to miss 2 to 3 weeks. That we did miss.
He may miss the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, likely out 2 to 3 weeks. That's a big hit there because I really wanted to see how that team would be. Hopefully
he did it, man.
Huh?
So the way he did it too, slipping on a wet spot during warmups, pregame.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to get some better mop guys out there or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. So I hate to see that, but hopefully he'll be back in time for the playoffs. But
We're gonna get
out.
On Saturday Night Live.
What?
Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live. He hosted. Did you catch any of it?
I did not, but we can talk about that and more next week. We're gonna get out of here. We're out of time. Later, y'all.
See you.